Hello, everyone. Welcome back to yet another political episode. So, we got some amazing news that should relieve a lot of us Republicans, and not good news for Gavin Newsom. Or, honestly, I don't think he cares, remember? Because I'll get into that in a little bit, but I want to share the good news. Florida is aiming at redistricting. And this goes to show that Ron DeSantis has been considering and talking about redistricting more often. It is likely that Ron DeSantis, seeing that his relationship with President Trump, will go on with redistricting. Florida has a very justified reason for redistricting due to the overpopulation of illegal immigrants. This has likely screwed up the census numbers, and it's not like the census data. The districts in the House of Representatives are overcounted for Democrats anyways. We got to remember that really, we've seen a historic jump. Okay, we've seen a very historic jump from 2020 to 2024. We got to take a look at Jackson Jude because that will explain the state of Florida by trend. So we're going to go and do past by past elections. Yeah, this is a 5-point trend to the right. Okay. Florida used to be a swing state, okay? It went to Trump by like 2 points. And now, with the latest results, you just saw Republicans gain by 9.7. That is huge. This is Florida. Florida has been an undecided state since the 90s. It was a state that swung from Bush in 1992 to Clinton in 1996. Back to Bush, just Bush Jr. to be exact. Bush Jr. in 2000, Bush again in 2004, went to Obama in 2008, Obama again in 2012, Trump in 2016, Trump in 2020, and now for the very first time, Florida has backed Republicans in 3 consecutive elections since, I want to believe, the 1980s. And this time around, Florida has backed Republicans by a double-digit margin. This is huge. You look at the numbers we're seeing, especially from Miami. Miami was a 18.4 gain for Republicans. But not only that, but the Hispanic areas. We're talking about these rural Hispanic areas like Osceola County. 15 percentage point gain for President Trump. Hendry County, which is also Hispanic majority, was a 15-point gain for Republicans. So, obviously, you have not just illegal immigrants, but just in general, this case that Florida was a very, very, very unusual situation where we went from literally swing state in 2020. We were told that Joe Biden was going to carry Florida during the campaign. And he ends up losing Florida. And ever since that, Joe Biden and the Democrats, they can't seem to pick it back up. It did a double-digit swing to the right for President Trump. So this is absolutely brutal. And honestly, it's going to be hard for Democrats to argue. And I think it's absolutely just hilarious when Democrats say, oh, we never do redistricting. Redistricting mid-century, mid-decade redistricting never exists. Even though Democrats redistricted New York last year. Last year, they picked up the, what I don't know what the district's called, but they picked up a district in central New York by adding the College County of Tompkins County in New York. And as a result, you got District 19 leaning Democrat. Josh Riley kicked out the incumbent. Cheap, right? They cowardice Democrats added this district into the 19th district. Relatively Republican. Democrats changed the borders last year. They don't want you to know that. They want you to forget about that. That even happened. But not to mention, Democrats manipulated the right-wing Supreme Court, they like to call, to gain Alabama 2 and Louisiana 6. So what Democrats are mad about is they want to gerrymander unconstitutionally via their mind by rigging the Supreme Court using race-based politics to gain 2 new seats that are DEI, and they expect, and also going into New York to flip New York 19 by adjusting the border so they can win it easier. They do that. No. Republicans can't do that. If Republicans do that, then that's illegal. That's unconstitutional. That's fascism. But if Democrats do it, it's okay. You see what I mean? And Republicans have a better legitimate reason. Can we explain why Kathy Hochul tried to flip New York 19? To me personally, I think it's a political stunt because she's unpopular and she wants to virtue signal. That's what I think that she's trying to do. You then have Texas and Florida. They're doing it for legitimate reasons. Democrats want 0 consequences for letting millions of illegal aliens across the border. They want 0 consequences. And as a result, they're getting the consequences. They're throwing a big fit in regards to this. So we're going to continue to add these few districts to our map. All right. Central Texas. There we go. Here's our current numbers. Republicans are currently at this time 213 to 202. Now then again, I don't think Governor Abbott has signed the maps into law yet, so we're going to have to be patient when Governor Abbott has the time. But of course, the most important thing is Republicans are keeping the ball going. All right. So apparently, Ron DeSantis is on fire. He's not even going to wait for Gavin Newsom to see if this is going to even pass. It's likely that it's not going to pass. But to Ron DeSantis, it's infuriating that Gavin Newsom is just rigging an independent commission that was set up with the voters in efforts to boost his political career. And that, like I said, Gavin Newsom doesn't care about these districts. So is this a loss for him? No, because really, Gavin Newsom doesn't care. He's using this as leverage for his campaign. But little does he know that this actually might hurt his campaign. He got himself into this stupid situation where, guess what? He's disavowing his voters' desires to establish an independent commission. So that might actually hurt him in the Democratic primaries in 2028. He's too dumb to know that. So we'll see how that goes, and we'll see how the ballot measure, if it passes, we'll see if it goes the way that Gavin Newsom is actually going to be thinking. So this is what would possibly happen. I wish I had that Ready Go video up. Mainly, I'm going to break the rules. I'm going to pull up Ready Go. I'm going to pull up that video because reason why is he has the map, the Florida map, and I am not going to go scouring around the internet to find a replica of that map that he had in his video. Now, this isn't his map. He didn't create this map, so I do feel comfortable sharing it. But obviously, his audio and his takes will not be in this video. But yeah, you got, of course, the hypothetical map right in front of us right here. So this is what would be likely changed. And yeah, this is a pretty, 1, 2, 3. That's kind of good gerrymander here. Look at this. This is like a best case scenario. Look at a multiple seat grab. We got 1 Democrat seat, 2 Democrat seat, 3 Democrat seat. And notice you got a couple seats that are light here. Okay, this is probably including, we know this for fact, we know this is Tampa. And there is, of course, the Hispanic community that could put District 11 in play. It's not like we're gerrymandering them to be solid red seats. They're still relatively compatible as the colors are lighter. So Democrats really shouldn't be throwing a huge tantrum about losing these seats. Yeah, well, can they still pick these seats up? Yes, because like Greg Foreman clearly is saying, this can politically backfire on Republicans in some ways. Like maybe these districts could go Republican. But if you were to use census data, these districts on paper would be pretty Republican. So we're going to go ahead. I will assume that District 20, Sheila Charfless McCormick's district. Yeah, we're going to take out Debbie Wasserman Schultz's district. 27th district is, where's the 27th district? Oh, 27th district's right here. Interesting. Did they elevate that, make that blue? They might flip that. Oh, I don't know. I don't think they would do that, such a thing, but this is yeah, you take 24th district. So you get something looking like this. You got 3 seats for Democrats in Florida, and you get exactly 218. Now, I made it clear I want a challenge. I don't think it's necessarily fun to get gerrymander ourselves all the way to 218. Not to mention, although it's smart and strategic to do that, because let's just say Gavin Newsom succeeds. Okay, he flips California 1, California 3. He takes Ken Calvert's seat, the 40th district, the 45th district, the 48th district. Okay, they redistrict. In the 13th district, because those will be relatively more Democrat. Although I don't know if, let's say, in other words, worst case scenario, look, it's only 205 to 212. Really? Republicans are guaranteed to get 212 seats. 212 seats. So what? You get 3 Republican seats in California. If Democrats want to play the silly game, they win the silly prize. Republicans still pick up 212, and I get my way of getting a challenge. But you also have, in other words, if Gavin Newsom makes this move, then Missouri says they are going to retaliate. And not only that, but Indiana is pretty easy to gerrymander. You can take Indianapolis out. You can totally Utah this map in multiple circumstances here. And then you get a map similar to Arkansas / Utah. Look at Missouri, okay? Missouri is also a state that is said to come out and redistrict, but I want to touch base with Ohio, because Ohio is going to redistrict. That's inevitable, and that's a state that's not been talked about in the news. But yeah, you add these 3 here, and there you go. You got 217 on the map here. 9th district, 13th district, they're likely going to be wiped out. 1st district could be added if Gavin Newsom and Democrats escalate. We can ask Governor DeWine to escalate and try to get the Cincinnati into the mix. And then you have Missouri. Governor Mike Keel is pushing to redistrict, and likely fact is, it's will be difficult to redistrict St. Louis, but we talk about Mr. Cleaver's seat, which Roly-Poly-Bully Martin is very mad about, because he thinks we're being, of course he makes it a race issue. It's not. This guy's been in power for 11 straight terms. We take him out. This is Democrats' war, guys, and there you go. Republicans are back at 218. But what you might be wondering now, what if Democrats decide to retaliate? Now, this is where Red Eagle's video comes into play. So these are states that really are saying, this is what we can do. I think it's funny that Maura Haley decided to come out and try to threaten Republicans to redistrict Massachusetts. She thinks we're that dumb to think that, we're going to take out multiple red seats. No, because Republicans don't have a seat in Massachusetts. You've gerrymandered the state to the max. So go ahead. We know it's not going to add anything to Republicans or to Democrats in any way, but you'll see that you got a good list here. There are more redistricting opportunities than Democrats have, and this is quite very good here. So let's specifically take a look at California. You got Maryland. Maryland's considering But like Red Eagle's saying that, yeah, there's not really much that you can do with Maryland. Maryland's been gerrymandered to the max already. And it's going to be pretty hard to gerrymander that state without doing what he likes to call a dummy mander. I don't really like to call, that's Red Eagle's language, but yeah, we'll use the word dummy mander since I mentioned it. But you want to take Andrew Harris out, like Red Eagle likes to say, how are you going to do that without doing a dummy mander? Now, let's just say they decide to take, pull a 6th district trick here, and they add parts of the 2nd district and the 7th district and the 3rd district in Anne Arundel County, and they make a little tail end here. I think it's possible. I think you would make it more of a toss-up, or maybe Democratic at its least. But look, it's you. That's all you got. Oh, we're going to fathom and rage over Maryland doing this gerrymander, taking out Andrew Harris, and I'm like, oh, okay, go ahead. This is Democrats are going to struggle more than Republicans. You'll see they only have 2. They have California. They have Maryland. Actually, no, New York can't redistrict for 2026. So anything that happens in New York, like to Kathy Hochul can talk tough game, that's just insulting her base and lying to her base and saying, oh, we're going to go and redistrict, blah, 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 blah. Okay. No, you really can't, because you can't do it for 2020. You can't do it for till 2026. So you can't do it for this election cycle. So joke's on you. So New York won't change, and that's pretty much it. I've heard about Oregon. I've heard about Washington. Supposedly they could do redistricting. And let's just say worst case scenario, they do that. And then again, like Red Eagle will say, it's going to be tough to do a dummy mander in Oregon, but let's just say worst case scenario is they do succeed in Oregon. They succeed somehow in Washington, where it's going to become more of a replacement for Oregon. But the worst you got is Republicans have 10-seat advantage against Democrats, and no matter what, this isn't going to change, guys. In order for Democrats to win the House, they need to gain a net worth of 2. They lost 10 seats. Look at here. So it says, just recently, Red Eagle's video here, it said that Republicans would pick up a net worth of 13, flipping 13 seats. I'm not sure if it's projected post 2030 census. Of course, this isn't revolving around 2026, but this is pretty much Republicans would gain 10 seats at max past post 2030 census. But anyway, what do you guys think in regards to this video? Let me know down below. And as always, I'll see you all in the next political episode.